The prisoner Charles Bronson has lost his parole board bid to be freed from jail. Let's talk to our crime correspondent Martin Brunt, who joins us from Manchester. Martin, he will not be pleased about this. You've been in contact with him in the last 24 hours or so. Tell us more.
Yes, he was handed the decision, written decision in an envelope about an hour or so ago, and has been calling friends to tell them that the decision is not unexpected, really, to keep him in prison. There were three options for the parole board, a hearing 3 weeks ago. One was to release him, the second was to move him to an open prison, and the third was to keep him where he is, which is within a very secure unit at Wood Hill Prison in Milton Keynes. So that's a decision. He's told a friend that he's not too down about it, and I think he probably anticipated that this would be the parole board's decision. Remember that during the parole hearing in early March, a prison psychologist said that although it was felt that he had made some progress within the prison system, to the extent that he posed only a medium risk of violence towards inmates and prison staff, whereas before it had been very high, the feeling within the prison service was that if he was to be released, he would still pose a high risk to members of the public. Now, his solicitor, Dean Kingham, has just told me that although this is not what they wanted, there are some positive signs in what the parole board has said. And although we haven't heard this officially, we will get probably a detailed explanation from the parole board about how it arrived at its decision. But his solicitor, Mr. Kingham, says that there are some positives in the parole board statement, and the parole board says there is a need for Bronson to progress through the system to a more relaxed regime, and that really is the heart of the problem. Although he says he's a man of peace, he hasn't committed any violent episodes for the past, nearly 10 years, and he's happy to sit in his cell and do his art, and he wants to be released, and he loves the public. He doesn't feel he's a threat to anybody. He's never been tested, or not for a long time, outside that very restrictive regime in which he's kept in 23-hour isolation in prison. What I think everybody appears to agree, and ultimately this is a decision for the prison service now, but everybody seems to agree that what he really needs is to be introduced slowly into a more communal setting, so he should be allowed to mix more freely with other prisoners and see then how he copes with any provocation, any anger, any upset. And if he can prove himself within a group of a few people, then perhaps he could be moved to a more relaxed regime, and then ultimately to an open prison, and then perhaps released. But we can all imagine what it would be like for a man who spent 48 years in prison to suddenly be released onto the streets. I mean, he would find that very, very difficult to cope. So it's bad news for him. He stays where he is, but there is some hope within the parole board statement, which we will get at some stage today and bring to you.